Hey folks, I'm back with another mock SQL interview problem. Let's get started. I filtered it to hard problems today. I guess I'll choose a question kind of in the middle, maybe Airbnb city with most amenities. Since this is a hard question, I'm going to start the timer. My goal is to solve this in less than 7 minutes. All right, let's get into the question. You're given a data set of searches for properties on Airbnb. For simplicity, let's say that each search result, each row, represents a unique host. Find the city with the most amenities across all their hosts' properties. Output the name of the city. Okay, so we want to find the city with the most amenities, and then they just want the name of that city. Let's get into the table then. This table has a lot of columns, but based on this question, I think most of these columns are not relevant, right? Accommodates, don't need that. Amenities, okay, so this column is really important because we want to find the city with the most amenities. Bathrooms, bedroom, none of this stuff matters. City is important because we have to return the city. Let's see, cleaning fee, host, identity verified, ID, neighborhood, price. Okay, so I think although this table is quite large and there's a lot of columns, I think the only two we need are amenities and city. I'm just gonna run this select star statement. Oh yeah, look at this column, amenities, it's a giant column. So we have to somehow split these amenities separately so that we can count which city has the most. Okay. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I think the tricky thing is how to split this amenities column. I'm pretty sure it's string to table. I'm not totally sure. Let's try it. What did I do? Oh, of course I have to tell it what to split by. I don't use this function very often. Okay. Okay, so I think this worked correctly. So if you guys don't know this function, this is luck. I I just used this at work the other day. That's kind of why I know it. So it takes this string and then it converts the string into rows based on a delimiter, and I told it to split based on the comma. So you can see it's like TV, wireless internet, air conditioning, right? So we have TV, wireless internet, air conditioning. But let's clean this up a bit because you can see TV has like this bracket, wireless internet has these quotes. So there's probably a better way to do this, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. So let's trim the quotes, and then let's trim the brackets. Right, and then that's the left bracket, and let's trim the right bracket. As amenity, which is a single amenity. Perfect. Look at that. So we have split all this up into rows. Amazing. Okay. So I'm gonna call this prep. I'll make it into a CTE. And then we have to count the number of amenities by city. So we want to count the distinct number of amenities, right? Because like if multiple properties in that city have wireless internet, that's just like one amenity in that city. Geez. And we have to group by. We're grouping by because we're doing aggregation here. So let's run this. Okay, so it looks like it's New York City. But they want just the city. They don't want the number of amenities, they just want the city. So, um, and then I guess to get the city with the most number of amenities, I'll use a window function. This row number, and then we'll do select city from egg where row number equals 1. Let's run this code. Okay, New York City, I think that's right, so let's go ahead and check the solution. Okay, all right, we got it right, so let's talk about this question. This was labeled a hard question. I would say that I agree, but let's talk about why it's hard. The instructions are pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of instructions. It's not a lot of text. It's pretty straightforward instructions. Find the city with the most amenities. I think the first thing that's tricky is that the table they give you, there's only one table, but there's a lot of columns. And look, I only used 2 columns, right? City and amenities. So if you're not experienced in doing a lot of these problems, you might be overwhelmed by the number of columns, and it'll be hard for you to identify which columns you actually need to solve this problem. And if some of you guys are already in analytics already, you might think, oh, you didn't explore the table at all, or you didn't look at any of these columns, you didn't see if there's any, check for any null values or weird values, anything like that. That's true, but typically what I found is in interviews at tech companies, like you need to get started on the problem pretty quickly and answer the question directly. If you were asked this question at work, then yes, you should do a lot of those checks, right? Checking for null values and that sort of a thing. But in an interview, typically they're not trying to trip you up like that. They genuinely want to see, do you have the SQL chops to answer the question? Okay, so that's the first hard part about this question is that the table that they give you has a ton of columns when in reality you only need 2. The second hard part is going to be how you parse this amenities column. Because remember what that column looks like. Let me just show you guys again. Oh, right, that amenities column is like a giant string. And how do you count the number of amenities and count the distinct number of amenities? You kind of just have to know this function, or you have to know what to Google. Now, different companies are going to have different rules on whether you can Google. I've generally found that companies will let you Google as long as you ask. You can say, look, I know I need to parse this column, but I don't remember the syntax, and then tell them what you want to Google. Right, like I want to Google how to split a string column by a comma, and then see if they let you. If they don't let you, I would kind of be surprised if they don't let you because this is not a very common function, string to table. Again, I only know it because I had to use it at work the other day. But if I hadn't used it, then I wouldn't remember this. Like even I wouldn't have remembered this. So I think it's fair to ask, but the key is you have to tell the interviewer what you want to Google for, so that they know that you're not just plugging something into ChatGPT or something like that. So that's definitely, I think this is what mainly makes this question hard is being able to split this string column into rows like I did. After that, it's pretty easy, right? Once you have a row of each amenity by city, then you just count the distinct number of amenities by city. I guess you have to select just the one city, so maybe that's kind of hard. I used a window function. You don't have to use a window function. I would say being able to select the city with the most amenities is kind of more of a medium problem. Yeah. So hopefully that was helpful. I think this was a pretty tricky problem. Like had I not used this function at work, you guys would have had to watch me try to Google and find this function, which I already did that a couple weeks ago for work. So it's kind of lucky on my part. But I highly recommend doing a lot of these problems because if you do these practice problems, then before your interview, you'll probably have used most of these um, functions and you'll go into the interview ready. If you want to practice, I'm using Stratascratch. There's a link to it in the video description. I found it really helpful. It has like a handy timer for you. You can see solutions and discussions from other people. You can do, they have free problems as well, so you don't have to buy a membership. I personally did buy a membership when I was interviewing, just because I forget exactly how many free questions it gives you, maybe like 50 free questions. Um, and then I ran out, so I bought a subscription for, I don't know, maybe like a month or two while I was interviewing. But you can filter by like solved and unsolved, by company, by difficulty. So I did, when I was preparing for interviews, I did about 10 a day. I would start with maybe 4 or 5 easy questions to boost my confidence, 2 or 3 medium questions, and then like 1 to 2 hard questions. And I did that every day for about a month. And because of that, I would say the SQL screens at tech companies became really easy for me. Okay, I hope you guys found that helpful. Bye.